A very good question. This book comes in at a very critical juncture in my personal life, and I think the global perspective as well. A few years back, when I first got the Nations of America, I began seeing ads on TV about Africa, mostly for the poor and the needing of help. But every time I saw an ad, there was a constant fly on a child's mouth that was supposed to project the image of Africa that is hungry, that is needy. And we all know clearly that there's no child that is hungry enough, or too hungry, to push to take fat off that fly. Now, there lies a problem that I saw quickly, that there's a perception problem, and some of it is perpetuated by people we know. So a few months ago, we all know COVID-19 befell us, and so I had so much time to sit and contemplate and think about several things and how to convert that misfortune, that global pandemic, into an opportunity for me to do things I've longed to do for a long time. And that's why I felt the need to close that gap between the Africa that we know and the Africa that is. Now, let's go back in history around 711 AD when the Roman Empire fell. It is little known that the African Moors came onto the shores of Spain and took over Spain, Portugal, south of France, and with them came a lot of wonderful things. With them came a lot of civilization. At the time they were coming in, the monarchs, almost 99% of the population then was illiterate, including the kings and the queens. What these Moors did was bring in advancement, bring in technology. And fast forward, it is at some point, it was only the Moors that had street lights, they had running water, they had hospitals, they had mosques. These are things that were not common. If you look carefully at the Catholic-controlled side of Europe, which is some of France, Paris, and London, it took them hundreds of years to eventually get some street lights. So you can see the impact that the Moors had, but none of the historians really cover this as well as it should. Now we go back into some of the advancements they introduced. It was the Moors, these African Moors, after colonizing the Spanish and the Portuguese for almost 700 years, that things like the zero number and the decimals were introduced into their mathematics, which became a game changer in terms of how math was done. So a lot of this information was never really shared. Well, it is shared, but not as much as it should be. And what this book is intended to do is to give you that information so we can start reimagining this continent. So if you research UNESCO education sector, you will see that the oldest university, which was formed at the peak of the Moorish Empire leadership around 859 AD, was actually in Morocco today. And it was amazingly founded by a woman called Fatim al-Karim. Now, this is history, this is information about Africa that is not readily shared. Now, we can go back and forth about so many other things that the book covers, but what I'm sharing with you is just the tip of the iceberg. One of the things that people do not know about one of the most powerful empires in Africa, which was led by Sundiata Keita. It was, amongst many other things, he converted Timbuktu to be, he made Timbuktu one of the largest universities in the world, with almost 700,000 manuscripts at that time. And now, what is very interesting is we talk about the UN Charter that's supposed to talk about human rights and so on and so forth. Well, back in the Sundiata era, he came up with a mundane charter that was supposed to harmonize the living together of diverse people. He was supposed to make education a right. He was supposed to make racism, he abolished racism, he abolished slavery. This was way before the UN was formed. This is data that I provide for you in this book, and a lot of this information is, you would probably not find it on CNN, find it on mainstream media, and that is why I felt the obligation to write this book and help with painting the proper image, the right image of this once labeled as a dark continent of this world.